There are ways that you can use things around your house as well. You can use water bottles if we need light weights. You can use cans of beans for light weights. If we're doing squats with weights, you can just fill a backpack with some heavy books.
I like that. Hello and welcome to Good Moves, a podcast by Punchpass. On our show, we have wholehearted conversations with fitness and yoga studio owners to learn more about the unique ways they run their business and inspiring ways they live their lives. I'm your host, Claire. I ran a thriving yoga studio for 8 years and have been part of the Punchpass team for almost as long. We have so much to learn from each other. Let's jump right in. So welcome back to Good Moves. Today we are here with Jen from Fit with Shaver. Jen, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, I am a mom of 3 who is a former Spanish teacher who took my love of teaching and my enthusiasm of fitness and mixed them together. And now I teach women how to make exercise work for their bodies as they hit midlife and how to work for their busy schedules. And I teach online, on-demand fitness classes through Punchpass.
I saw that, and one of the things I immediately noticed about your setup is the shorter duration of the classes, which I really love, and then a lot of encouragement on social media to make the fitness fit into your life. So I guess that's one of the main things that stood out for your approach. Is that something you've been doing your whole life, or is that something that you figured out fairly recently? How has that kind of come to be?
No, actually, I just figured it. I just incorporated it recently. We get so busy, and there's so many women that have put their own health on the back burner because they say, "Oh, I don't have time. Because when you're in midlife, you're in this stage of your life where if you do have children, you're caring for your children.
Yeah.
If you have, your parents are still around, you might also be caring for your parents or some older adults in your life. And you've got, if you work outside the home, there's just so many things going on. And oftentimes that exercise gets pushed to the back.
Right.
So, I wanted to create a program that would allow women to fit it into their schedule where it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's sustainable.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that big moment of joining a gym and committing to going every weekday or 4 or 5 times a week. And I think that's such a critical moment in a lot of people's lives when they realize it doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly. You don't need, all kinds of fancy equipment. You don't need all kinds of fancy clothes. If you want to do this in your jammies, nobody's looking.
Yeah.
You go for it, girl, And a lot of in fact, all of my exercises, I don't do extreme moves. And so I make it accessible for all women, no matter what level. So, it covers the gamut from the woman who hasn't exercised in years to the woman who, has kept up with her fitness, but just wants to find a way to make it fit for her schedule.
Yep.
And so, it's beginner to advanced.
That's beautiful. So I know you've been with us actually for exactly a year tomorrow, I think, actually, when I was looking up today. That was kind of cool. So what were you doing before that? Did it all start happening at once? You decided you were going to do this and then you went with the software and that sort of thing? Or did it evolve a little more gently than that?
When I first started out, I really wasn't planning. I was planning on doing the whole fitness thing after the kids got out of school. And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And life shut down. And so as a busy mom, I didn't have soccer games, track meets, volunteering, all that stuff was not around. And I thought, this is time. This is it. This is when I can do what I have been wanting to do. So that's when I decided to, pursue a certification, which I know you don't need, but I wanted it for myself. So I did that. And then I started doing some online one-on-one training, creating individual plans. And I just felt there was something missing. And and it was the teaching.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love the classes. And so then I decided, okay, I need to find a way to get this out in a teaching format. And, how can I do this? And I saw another woman that I'm friends with, that she was using Punchpass. And I went, oh, there we go. And I did my research on it. And I also signed up with another company, and I was not impressed with their system and the way things went. And the ease of use with Punchpass for somebody who has so much difficulty with technology, myself.
Yeah.
It was just, I thought, oh, this is it. And it's been fabulous. I absolutely love it.
That's awesome, because you do a lot of your sessions are pre-recorded. What's the mix at the moment? Because I know you do have some pre-recorded. Are you still doing some live as well?
Okay, so I started out doing live only. And I found that a lot of the ladies were doing it live. I would have like 2 show up for the live and then the rest would want to do it recorded.
Yeah.
So for my schedule as well, it ended up just working out best to just do them pre-recorded. And that has worked out really well. And I really enjoy the pre-recorded. I do the live actually once a month. I hold a master class. I call it a power hour.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I have one tomorrow night. It's just, like a little class. And we talk about, tomorrow we're talking about the midlife metabolism myth. And so I use Punchpass for that as well.
Yeah.
So that is live and that's just, non-exercise, but, it still involves women's health and, me teaching and getting that word out. And so I love the fact that I can use Punchpass and I'm able to not only, put the video in there after the class is done, but then I can also attach, PDFs or little notes or whatever it might be.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great way to support people. Is this the women's health thing? Is this something you've been passionate about for a while? Or is it only as you sort of came up on this time yourself that you sort of wanted to share with others? I know we've touched on it a little bit, but is it something that's interested you your whole life or?
Yeah, I am a former endurance athlete, and actually my exercise started back in the day with Denise Austin.
Wow. Do you know that jazzercise is now a thing again? I need to share this with you. It's amazing to me. And I think it's kind of fantastic.
I'm going to have to do those leg warmers.
It's really big again. We have actually, to be honest with you, we have a lot of jazzercise clients and I had no idea either. It's a thing.
Wow.
I don't know if it's the same as it used to be, but we're doing it again. Everything old is new again. So, sorry, back to the start. So you got in the aerobics and then the endurance. Yes. I'm fascinated by endurance athletes. So keep talking. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I got into the endurance world when my kids were about 2. My 2 oldest were 2 and 3. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, I wasn't a runner beforehand. Like I said, I did Denise Austin. I was always active and I always knew that exercise was an important part and it was always a part of my day. And so then I got into the endurance world. And unfortunately, the more I got into that, the less my strength training became a part of my exercise routine.
Yeah.
So I skipped that a lot. I always worked with a coach and they would always say, oh, you need to do this routine. Well, I got 2 kids. And so by the time I would get done with the running or the biking or the swimming or the whatever,
that's a heck of an age of your kids to start becoming an endurance athlete. I mean, that's amazing.
Right?
Did you take them with you? Was it because the jogging? Yeah. They went out and about with you? It was a family
affair. Yeah. My husband would, would come to races with the kids and
wow.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my lack of strength training brought me into a cycle of a lot of injury. And I went for many years from 2010 to 2020. It was one injury to the next. It was bulging discs. It was a torn plantar fascia. It was, bulging discs again. You've torn this hamstring. It was all because of my lack of strength training.
Yeah.
Too much endurance and then not, focusing on the strength training because I started this when I was around 35. And at 35 is when, as women, we start to lose lean muscle. So, and then as an endurance athlete, I'm also breaking that muscle down.
Right.
So if I'm not rebuilding it with the strength training, if I had really listened then, right, to what I preach now.
It's so counterintuitive though, because we think of endurance athletes as being incredibly fit and incredibly strong and incredibly well muscled, I guess, for want of a better phrase. I mean, we feel like they're incredibly strong people. And I think it's kind of amazing that we're now figuring out even more the strength training side of it has to be a separate. You can't get it all just by doing your endurance training.
You can't. And, you look at pictures of me. Did I have muscle? Of course I did. I looked lean and I looked fit, but there were weaknesses within those muscles. So that led to the injury. And I love marathoning. It was, a labor of love. I loved it. And January 2020 came and I was on a run on January 1st. And I was in pain, and just like I had been for years. And I thought, you have to stop.
Yeah.
There has to be an end to this. You can't be in pain every day. But I had become so used to it and pushed it, down.
Why was the running still so important to you at that point? Was it a mental, I don't want to dig too deep, but.
No. You know what? It's as a stay-at-home mom, it was my identity.
Yeah. Beyond being the stay-at-home mom. Yeah, it was your way of being somebody in addition to that.
Yep.
Get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want to let it go. And then I finally just said, I was just tired. My body was so broken down. And on January 1st, while everybody else is like, oh, I'm going to run more this year.
A reverse New Year's resolution. Yeah.
I am not going to run.
Yeah.
And I'm going to focus on strength training. And I did. And I took 18 months off of running.
Wow.
And I focused solely on strength training.
Did you replace it with another cardio or no cardio, just strength?
I did a lot of jump rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I did a lot of jump rope. I would throw a stationary bike in every once in a while. I hate the bike. When I was doing triathlon, I hated the bike. Not a bike fan.
Yeah.
Swimming. I love to swim. So I did a lot of swimming as well. Swimming is just feels so good,
Yeah, totally.
Swimming was always there when I was hurt, when I was running.
Yep.
So I would always call swimming like the good boyfriend and running was the bad.
The abusive boyfriend. Oh God.
That you just keep going back to.
Yeah. Yep. I know that one.
You shouldn't go back.
Yeah.
We're going back. Go back for more. So yeah, I did a lot of swimming, jump rope, occasionally the stationary bike, and but I would lift at least 3 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah. So for 18 months. And then I decided I wanted to start running again. And so I started just, 4 miles here and there, nothing fast, nothing, whatever. And right when I started, I didn't have any pain. I thought, oh, this is great. So I kept going, slowly building it in, but never more than 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 2 months, I thought, I wonder what would happen if I ran a half marathon.
As you do.
So I did. Mm-hmm. So I decided to sign up, and my daughter signed up with me. And actually, that's the picture behind us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This past October, we ran the Columbus Half Marathon, which I have run the Columbus Marathon on several occasions, but we did the half. And I ran it with my second fastest time. My first fastest time was, the very first half marathon that I ever did in 2011.
Wow.
So this is my second fastest time. And I got to that start line. It's the first time ever that I have gotten to any race start line without an injury.
So you were
I made it through the finish line without an injury.
So you had always been carrying something previously in running. So something was always up.
Always showing up with tape and
wow.
PT, having to go to physical therapy before, after, and
Wow.
Yeah. And once I added that strength training in regularly, and I'm, it's not like I could skip it because I'm teaching class.
Yeah, well, there's that, definitely.
I got to show up for my ladies,
Yeah. So are you talking about?
I actually ran less.
You ran less and you did small amounts of strength training, and that combination was just stabilizing your body.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a real misconception when you get to a certain age, your body's just going to start tanking. It's going to start going downhill. Here we go. You're going to make funny noises when you stand up from the couch. You're going to, have a sore knee when the rain's coming, whatever it is. But you're just going to start. It's just inevitable. It's a decline. But I think, which is what I really love about, businesses like yours, just that encouragement that doesn't have to be that way. You should acknowledge your injuries. Don't get me wrong. If you do have a sore back, you should probably get that looked at. However,
for sure.
it's not just an inevitable decline that comes with age, I think.
Well, that's just it. I don't think that, we don't have to see aging as, a time where, oh, you're aging, go sit in the corner and watch everybody that's, having fun.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea behind strength training is, we have to prepare our bodies for the future. Yeah. And I always tell my ladies, think of it just like you would your retirement account.
Right.
You don't start saving for your retirement account the day before you want to retire.
Right. You're investing.
You have to prepare for that now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're investing. So let's invest in your health and let's invest in your future health.
Yep.
And let's get everything prepared now. So when that day comes, you're ready to go. You're not sitting in that corner. You can get in and out of that chair. You can take your grandkids to Disney or, go watch them at their soccer game and climb up the steps at the stadium or, whatever.
Functional fitness that's just going to help you out. And I think what's so great about that is once they've learned that skill, even if they're not still coming to your sessions in 5-10 years, if they're feeling bad or, out of it or unfit, they've learned from you. They can pick up a little bit of movement or get back into it slowly with permission that it can just be a little bit here and there. It's not, 45 minutes full on hit craziness to be classified as a workout.
That's going to explode.
No, one of the things I liked about I looked on your social media and a few different bits and pieces, and the fact that you're actually using HIIT the way that I think of HIIT, which is, anything intense. Doesn't have to be 20 burpees. It can be, it's just getting your heart rate up and then. Burpees. So you're not a burpee person? No? It's such a controversial topic. No.
It is.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have an issue with is, especially as we age and when we're dealing with, a certain population, the risk of injury is so high with them.
Yep.
In terms of what you get out, what you
absolutely
can potentially get out of it. So the risk is just too high.
And I think it's
not saying that you can't do hard things as you age.
Of course.
Not what I'm saying at all.
No.
But it is a move that has to be performed in proper form.
Yeah.
Or you do risk
absolutely
injury.
And I think it's really incredibly demoralizing when you do start down the path of fitness and then 3 or 4 weeks in you do something and then you're out for 6-8 weeks or you're trying to figure out how you're going to get into it. It's a lot. So to be able to exercise safely is actually a real gift to be able to give people, especially if they haven't exercised in a while along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just it. Because if they do get injured, a lot of times then, they're discouraged and might not want to come back.
Yeah.
And then it just leads them back down the path that they were just starting to come off of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yet now they're back down that path.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally projecting here. I started running again a few weeks ago and I rolled my ankle and I'm miserable. I'm so sad. But I will tell you, I know. And I'm totally in that, like when I knew I was talking to you today, I was in that place of, it's horrible and then you kind of, did I push it? Do I push it now? When do I get back? I mean, there's so much to know about our bodies. I think that intuition is a wonderful thing, but when do you rest? When do you push? To have someone like you guiding them, I think is such a valuable resource.
Well, and that's a great point because we do want to challenge ourselves, right? But we do want to walk up to the line and not cross the line. And for many of us, especially those perfectionists, those type A's, we have trouble with that line, because we see that maybe that's lazy if we don't keep going or, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's something that, even I struggle with. And there are some days more than others, but I'm getting wiser as I age.
Yeah.
So as to avoid those types of days. But I just had a conversation with my ladies today because I was reading a post in another running group and a gentleman was talking about, he tore his plantar fascia and has anybody else had this and how do I heal it quickly? And I thought, he's looking for the quick fix.
Right.
No.
Yeah, there isn't
and
one now.
So I thought, no, there isn't a quick fix. And so we have to learn to focus on the things that we can do. So rather than him focusing on not being able to run, what are some things that he can focus on that he can do?
Yeah.
Can he do push-ups? Can he do pull-ups? Can he do some core training? What was the weakness that caused this injury? Can you work on that right now? Can you focus on your nutrition? Can you focus on getting some good sleep? Can you focus on your hydration? Focusing on those things that you can do, those things that you control in life, and not the things that we can't do.
Yeah.
Is also very helpful.
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with that. And I think it's so interesting how the time does pass and then you're better. And when you look at people's resume, especially people like you who've been endurance athletes and things like that, I was out with this and that and this, and like the people get through this all the time. It passes and they heal and it's amazing. Elite athletes break things and get sick and they're still elite athletes. I mean, it still comes back around.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not to say that it's not hard. When you are in that moment and that one thing, whatever it is, is taken away, yes, it's really hard. So knowing that I have gone through that injury, that's why I felt like, you know what, I understand how he's feeling, but that took me about 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's at month 3.
Yeah. That's
so, I mean, it is hard. It's hard when those things happen, but that's why you need to take that same intensity that you have with your training, whatever it is you were focused on before, and take that focus and place it on something else.
Right. Yeah, you definitely need to fill in the gaps. So let's talk a little bit about your women, as you call them, which I like. How are people finding you? What is who are your people? Where are they coming from? Why you? Why them? Is it your locals?
I have a large percentage of locals. And then I have ladies from all over the United States who have just found me on social media.
That's brilliant.
Some, a friend of a friend, and then others just organically have found me.
Yeah. And do they connect with each other? Do you have a platform for them to interact, or is it all a bit fairly separate?
Yes, actually, I do have a Facebook group a private Facebook group for the ladies to interact. And I do weekly talks in there as well, weekly live. I call it Fit News. And I do that in the Facebook group, Friday Funny, and just share all kinds of other information and questions that they have.
Yeah. So they're making those connections as well.
Right. Yeah. Creating just a little Strong for Life community.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I guess my question is, with the pandemic, hopefully coming to some sort of conclusion of some sort, maybe at some point. Maybe, if we're lucky. Is this something you see yourself continuing doing? Is there plans for any sort of evolution or a change in the way that you're structuring these things? Or, I mean, you seem very content with the little world that you've set up, which I think is brilliant. But is there anything coming next?
I am working on, I'd like to get into corporate wellness so I could try and reach more women, especially the working woman who is overstressed, overworked, tired, and just needs to start taking care of herself.
Yeah. So just getting out there and reaching more of those types of people.
Yes, for sure.
Online? Are you going to stick with online, do you think? Is that...
I am going to stick with online. It seems to be a platform that is working well.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that they can do it at their home. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of women are intimidated by a gym.
Absolutely.
And, especially when it comes to the strength training aspect.
Yes.
So, yeah. So the platform will stay exactly like it is.
Are you doing mostly body weight strength training? I'm just curious because you're saying they're at home. Are you encouraging equipment for your classes, or are you is it come as you are in your PJs and we can work it out?
I encourage them to have weights, but they are not required. Okay. So, I explained to them the best way to get results is to, obviously if you're new and you're just getting back into fitness, we need to start with body weight. That's the smart and the safe place to start. But once we've been doing it for a little bit, we do need to start to add those weights in because we want to work those muscles to muscular fatigue. And that's how we're going to build that lean muscle that we start losing at 35. So I encourage them just to get, one light set of weights, and one heavier set of weights. And like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, that's different for everybody. I said, and I tell them, there are ways that you can use things around your house as well. You can use water bottles if we need light weights. You can use cans of beans for light weights. If we're doing squats with weights, you can just fill a backpack with some heavy books.
I like that.
So, I try and find, different things different supplemental ways that they can still, if they don't have the weights yet or reluctant to get them.
Yeah, I think
still add something in.
I think sometimes the reluctance is just not wanting to say that this is something they're doing now. Like it's sort of testing the waters. I know I'm a bit like that. Like you kind of want to just put your toes in, and then buying weights would imply that you need to keep doing this now for 6 months so you don't become that person with 8 sets of dusty weights and a stretchy band and 20 million other things that the world said you needed to work out. I think that pressure is definitely real as well. So cans of beans sound a little less pressure, which I like.
Right. Exactly.
That's awesome, Jen. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I'm really inspired by what you do, and I really love the small pieces of exercise fitting into your life. I just think that's such a great way to go forward in our lives, especially for the busy mum that maybe doesn't want to become an ultra marathoner when their kids are 2 and 3 years old. I'm still blown away by that timing choice, and I admire you so much for it because I know how much time that takes.
Crazy,
But like you said, it's your mental health and getting you out of that house and getting you out of that stay-at-home mom thing, which I think is so important. And I love that you're giving that to other people now, which is brilliant. So thank you so much for talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I enjoyed speaking with you this evening.
Great. If you'd like to learn more about any of the guests that we've featured on the show or about Punchpass, you can head to our website at punchpass.com.